show. That's when you make me laugh. Every show before we come on.
What? You can't get rid of me?
All right, I believe we're on the air. So if we are, good afternoon. Happy Wednesday, peeps. I'm Lady J. And tonight, I'm just going all the way around because I'm so discombobulated. So tonight, it is Wednesday, July 13th. It feels like a Friday the 13th. Okay, I won't do that.
You said I'm Lady J.
Always,
I'm always
a
a lady.
You're watching Laugh Talk Giggle
There you go.
live on WJZZ Cool TV. Laugh Talk Giggle is a conversation with individuals from various fields, their field of expertise. They talk about their entrepreneurships. They talk about hot topics, what's going on in their lives at the moment. And you guys who get to voyeur in and ear hustle.
Yep.
And tonight, I'm Lady J. We have Mr. Detroit over here.
Wait.
I'm winking, right? Mr. Detroit.
She tried to give me that name when we first started.
You don't like Mr. Detroit?
No, no.
What
She
you
slipped
want to
it
be
in.
then? You just want to be Mr. D?
I'm Mr.
He
D.
just want to be Mr.
Just want to
D.
be Mr.
That just kind of sounds sexual.
Mr.
Mr.
D.
D from Detroit.
Mr.
Thank you.
Then y'all
With
both
the
can win.
beautiful Amina here
Hi, everybody.
from Tranquility, Detroit.
Tranquility 313 is my store.
So she's going to introduce herself. She's going to tell you about her business. And then Mr. D is going to take over because I'm just going to sit back.
All right. Well, my name is Amina J, and so I am the owner of Tranquility 313. And so I'm located in Metro Detroit. I'm in Livonia, Michigan, and Laurel Park Mall. So Tranquility 313 is a spiritual, metaphysical store. So we sell sage and crystals, loose teas, books, things of that nature. You can go there and get tarot card readings. So that's what I offer. That's what I do at my store.
How did you start doing tarot card readings? Is that like is it like a family thing with like your mom or somebody? Or?
You know, what's weird is, and I shouldn't say weird, my mom technically would have tarot cards. She wasn't a reader. Mm-hmm. She just had them just for herself as something to sort of learn and do, I guess, as maybe a hobby or something, I don't know, as a small child. She didn't really overly expose it to me, but I'm the only child from her, so you sort of see everything your mama do when you're the only child. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I was nosy. I was like, oh, what is this? So I sort of knew what it was without knowing, and then as I got older, I would ask her about it, and she would tell me, sort of what it was, and I just sort of naturally gravitated towards it and learned about it just little by little. So for years, I mean, I would maybe read myself, little things to learn about the cards. But I want to say probably within the last 5 years, I really got more serious and actually started reading other people. And then I decided to open the store just 1 year ago. So I just completed my 1 year anniversary, July 2nd.
Great.
Yeah. I thought that was actually the perfect time. I felt like COVID was a beautiful time to start because if you notice before COVID, well, you still have people, church is always going to be there, mosque is still always going to be there, but you had to be home with yourself. So you couldn't go out and commune with your fellow, church members and things like that. So I feel like a lot of people were more receptive to spirituality a little bit more after COVID and during COVID because you're forced to be with your own thoughts and spirituality. And then people also experienced, unfortunately, a lot of deaths. So it opens you up more spiritually because of experiencing those, unfortunately sad things at that time.
Look, I can just tell. I'm scared to ask a question because I see him about to burst out. But I just have one question. So when you're doing your reading, do people get upset later on? Have you ever come back or had like a negative experience with someone saying, "Oh, you said this," or I misinterpreted what you told me and I did this?
I've talked about challenging things with people, but I haven't had anyone come back in a negative way, like in a way feeling like they were attacking me. Almost like they'll come back and be like, "Oh my God, Amina, you were right about that," or "Oh my God, I know what you mean now about this or that." So almost like a gratitude and then sometimes just like a confirmation type of thing. But so far, nothing.
Good.
Fingers crossed, right? Hasn't been nothing too out of the way, too negative.
I always wonder about that because I'm always watching shows and they have the reviews and things like that.
Yeah.
And I see people like that's not right. That's a hoax. I'm like, I'm a firm believer because I don't believe in a religion as far as just being spiritual. When you tell people you're spiritual, they're like, "Oh, you're a witch." Okay, thank you.
Oh, right. And we're done here. You're not open. You're not ready.
Right.
Okay.
I
So
have
I'm going to
been
leave you
told
right
that
there.
on boss because I chant and I like my candles and I like all my crystals.
Yes.
And they're like, "Oh, you're a witch." I was like, "Okay, thank you."
Okay.
And I leave it at
You
that.
said you're
Right.
a witch?
Yeah, they don't put the B on there. It's just a witch.
Oh.
Usually, Usually when I tell them, oh, you don't believe in God, I'm like,
That's not what I just said at
That's
all.
not what I said.
Right.
Right,
You
but
may not call
instantly, soon as you say, I do not subscribe to any form of religiosity, it's like,
Sometimes people will get closed off.
Mhm.
They're in shock.
yeah, you don't believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
Say that.
And then they want to convert you, or they want to explain to you. But see, then you don't want to say, let's go through the Bible, because you're picking and choosing what chapters you're going to live by.
Mhm.
And a lot of people do that. And, those
And
are the
most
ones-
people do that. I think it's a natural human being instinct to pick out what's going to work for you at the moment. You're not going to pick the part that's going to be challenging to her for you
Yeah.
oftentimes because you can't do all of it. But then, like I tell people too, I love religion. I loved going to church and stuff as a kid. That's what I grew up doing, and I naturally gravitated towards that. I'm not there anymore. I'm beyond that now. I'm more spiritual, like you said myself. But I always say, I'm not telling you to believe in what I believe in. If it takes you to be a good person, to do Christianity or do Islam or do whatever, and be in a more structured environment like that, for you to be a good person, stay right there. I just think that I'm a little bit, and that's not to look down at anybody, but I feel like I'm a little bit beyond that. I'm questioning a little bit higher than just that book. But if you wanted to stay at that book, that's absolutely beautiful. It's a lot of beautiful people and beautiful creations that come just out of Christianity by itself. But I'm just a little bit
See
past
what?
that.
That's a beautiful way to look at that.
I mean, yes, it is. I mean,
To go
for me,
for it
it's a
word by
combination of things.
yeah, but to go for it word by word is hard because that book has been translated so many times.
Yeah.
It's meant for you to use it as like a base, like somebody to me telling you a story. You're supposed to learn the moral of that story.
Exactly.
That's how I sort of use the Bible. What did you learn from that story to help you now? Sometimes people go for it word by word by word. I'm like, oh, it's been translated too many times to do that.
And the versions are slightly different based on who's translating it. Because King James is different because he was more suppression of women, so they changed a lot of things in there. So I definitely agree.
Right. We want to stay in a tranquil space, right? Namaste, right?
Yes. Leave us here, Miss J.
Exactly.
But I like that outlook, and I like the openness of being not condemning any religion or anything, but saying there's an alternative and have the questions, because that's the biggest thing. The moment you question a higher power, it's like you're showing people, oh, you don't believe, or you're, and I think that's what we were created to do.
Absolutely.
We were given brains to question. I think that's what makes us different from all the other creatures here. I can't
Absolutely.
say how they think and how they communicate, and maybe they are asking each other questions, like looking at us like these fools here.
Right.
They can't get it right. But I think having the ability, being able to question, is a beautiful gift.
It is.
I mean, for me, because I'm always talking and asking questions. Like, why you do that? He always side eyes me. I ask him every day, why are you side eyeing me? I just don't understand.
Yeah, I'm all about asking the questions. I think that's what sort of got me on this spiritual journey that I feel like I'm constantly going to be on till the day I die. It's always something more and learn to grow. But definitely, like I told you, as a small child, I gravitated towards church. I gravitated towards the energy that's in that place, because we all are energy beings, and it's a beautiful space to be in. But like I said, I just grew past it. But I mean, it's definitely a beautiful place to be in when you can go beyond it and just be open, because it's so much more when you start questioning. Man, those wheels get to turn. You can go down a rabbit hole. So I just try to do like what feels right. If it feels right to me, I feel like God gives us all intuition, gives us all that spiritual gift. So if it feels right, keep going that way. If it starts feeling like it's going a little bit too left, okay, then I'm like, I'm gonna go back to where I feel more comfortable.
What do you think about that? So when you say to people that you don't believe in you don't conform to any religious. What do you, when they ask you, what do you do? What is your spiritual base, your foundation?
If somebody asks me, do I believe in God? I tell me I believe in a superior being. I say, but you have to understand that I take a collective view from many things. Psychology, philosophy, sociology, Buddhism. Buddhism is like, whoa, it's real deep. I mean, even actually, one of my favorite quotes come from Sun Tzu. Huh?
You know my ass.
Right, I want to know too. I'm like, so what's up?
I'm trying. I got it.
Don't
I'm
you
trying
know
to
that
remember.
make,
He said, water flows the contour to chart its course. while military tacticians uses the enemy's weaknesses and something else to achieve total victory.
So what does that mean exactly?
Right.
For me, an interpretation and the way the Spirit interpreted to me is the water is my spirit, right? It always flows the contour, charting its course to reattach itself back to the God of my understanding. The military tacticians, right, are the demonic spirits, situations, and circumstances that can unravel in my life to try to pull me back to a form of demise where I used to be to achieve total victory, and the victory is death. And it doesn't have to be the death of a physical nature, right? Talking about the death of a spiritual nature,
Yes.
right? Just being stuck, mummified, like, and just no place to go, right? A lot of times when I see a derelict out on the street, right, it's like they're stuck, right? And they'll be stuck there until the physical death because they already been through a spiritual death. You know, so for me that was that's like one of the biggest. It's just my favorite quote. Comes from some.
And I'm like you with that. I pick and choose from all little parts that resonate with me. So, like you said, sociology, psychology, different religions, from Buddhism to Islam. Some of my family is Muslim. So I can go, you can invite me almost to anything. I'm like, I pretty much sort of know what's going on here. And if I don't know, I'm open and completely willing to learn. And I'll conform to whatever you guys need me to do. Like when I was younger, like I told you guys, I like to go to church. Some of my family is Muslim. So when they would come up to visit, my mom was always very open. I'm like, I want to go to the mosque with them. So I would put on my hijab like them. I would pray with the women and all that. I just love.
Now I don't like
love
separation in religion. So the separating, putting women in one area, like with a lot of the Orthodox Jews, they have the women pray over here, and then I don't understand the separation.
Let me tell you what my uncle told me, right? My uncle Rashad, shout out to my uncle Rashad. He's Muslim. So he told me, because he's married to my aunt. And they've been married for years. Love them as a couple. So he was like, they do that for a reason. I mean, because he said, think about it. If I saw your Aunt Frances and she was standing in front of me praying, because, when they pray, they been forward like this. He said, I'm a man. I would be distracted. I'm here to focus on God. So we put the women behind us, not necessarily because they're submissive or behind us. It's to help us focus. Because
I've never
and
had
so
that
for me,
explained to
I don't know about anybody else, but my Uncle Rashad never treats my Aunt Frances like she's beef. She wouldn't allow it anyway. She's spicy. You're not doing that to her. Hijab or not.
That's education. I like that.
But that was to help focus. He said, and that's why, they have them covered and things like that to protect their beauty and things like that. So that's not necessarily what works for me, right? But I can understand it and I'm open to it and I can respect that, right? So that's part of the reason what he explained to me.
That. You know anything on that?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Yeah, I mean, come on, I'm a man.
You're a man first. You're a human being
man,
first.
Right? Yeah.
You think about you bending all over.
Love
right.
women, right? And it takes a lot to get your mind out of when you see a woman, and the first thing coming to mind is you lust, as opposed to appreciating the natural beauty of a woman herself. Right? First thing you do is.
You can't help it. I think about it, but because think about when you go to church, right? Whenever you've been in church, sometimes I go to church, sometimes still, and I'll see some of the ladies come in, and I'm heterosexual, and I'll be like, whoa. Like sometimes you'll see people come in, you'll be like, how can he not be slightly distracted as a human being, though? If you're coming in with all of your jewels out, everything out, and we're here to talk about God, I'm just saying, I'm just being real. You know what I'm saying? I mean, man of God or not, I mean, come on. Like, you tempting. He's supposed to be strong, but you're tempting.
Oh, yeah.
You're tempting. Okay. Women are powerful beings. We're very powerful. We're very, Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Laugh, Talk, Giggle on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. Streaming live every Wednesday night, 7 o'clock on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter Live. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and tag a friend.
Tag a friend. All right.
Back to Lady J. Go ahead.
I forgot what I was going to say.
You forgot what you was going to say?
We were talking about spirituality and women in the church and slightly being
being
honestly,
I've never lusted for anybody. I don't understand the feeling. So I could literally, I think naked men are just not attractive to me. Not like a naked woman is either, but a man is, y'all just don't have nothing. I think women are more sensual than men. When I look at a man, I'm like, oh.
So you're a person that, are you more of a person who, are you saying you're more like asexual, you don't have any attraction to
I
people?
like men.
Or you need mental stimulation or something more,
just
not
to
just
look
a
at a
lust.
naked man would
Doesn't
not
do
do
it for
anything
you.
for me. It just, I don't care who he is. I'm like, oh, okay.
But we're not talking about
When you said it, it just kind of came to my head. Like, I have female friends that be like, oh my God, look at him, and they'll show me a picture. I was like, oh, he's cute. They be like, but don't he make you?
I sort of know what you mean. I'm not probably as far as you are deep in that thought, but I've never, like, for example, I'm not a person that could probably have, like, I never say never, but never have a one-night stand, right?
Never.
Because I am a person who definitely has to be mentally stimulated in some way and have some type of connection. Even if I see you attractive, I'm like, oh yeah, he's very attractive, he's cute. But I'm not like hot and bothered because you haven't stimulated me in some type of way besides physical. I mean, I could acknowledge like, oh yeah, you might be fun. You know, I've seen some good-looking men, but
excuse me, you ain't here with Mr.
hello,
D.
Mr. D.
It's hard.
It's hard.
I just honestly, I could never.
That sounded nasty too, Mr. D. And it's hard.
See,
We gotta call you Mr. Detroit because that was a weird.
Exactly.
No, it was not.
That's what I said the very first day. I said, "Is this sexual?"
Oh my goodness! See, that is funny.
But I, that's where I'm at with that. I can't I know lots of women who've had one night stands.
Oh, absolutely. And that's not a judgment.
I don't care. You do
right.
however you do.
Absolutely.
Down. I just think I'm a repeat offender. I can't come once. I'm coming 3, 4, 5 times. I just don't. That's not me. Mm-hmm. But if I can't get you here,
it's hard to get down there to be a nice space, right?
Yeah,
I got you.
You can have everything you got, but you open your mouth and go, duh.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
But then sometimes there are men who have a certain energy, though, and I don't need them necessarily even be naked, but sometimes, just like you might meet somebody like, oh my God, I just love their energy, not even from a sexual space. You might meet a person, really and you be like, whoa, I just like you. Like, who are you? Yeah. So I might see a guy in that, we're going to be like, man, he has a really nice vibe. Like, but it's still, I need to know more.
Okay, now that's interesting. I know we all off the subject, but you took me there. I went grocery shopping Saturday. I went just all out all day. Okay. And so I said, I would stop by Walmart. I like to look at their plants. It's end of season, so I'm looking at end of season plants.
You can get a clearance.
Exactly.
Yes, I got some for $2 at Lowe's.
Exactly. See? And I went there, and I literally was in Walmart and had a 3-hour and about 15-minute conversation with this guy. I have never in my life just talked to a stranger like that. Wow. He had spoke to me. I was like, hey, how you doing? Kept on walking. Then we backed up. We came in. I went this way. I thought he went that way. And when we came, we met up again. He was like, hey, I spoke to you. I was like, yeah, I said hello. And he's like, well, I guess he didn't hear me or what. Yeah, I kind of felt that way. I was like, shout out, Jay. But we talked. It was
Did y'all stand up that whole time?
We stood in one spot. We never moved.
That is a connection. That is rare. I would say not to ignore that.
Yeah,
that is rare.
And usually,
she can talk.
But
3 hours in one spot?
And to be interested in a stranger. I had my stuff out showing him pictures on my phone. I don't show
you done got real comfortable.
Thank you. We looking at, that's how we connect. I have never in my life stood there and talked to anybody like that, ever. I was like, wow. And then he asked me for my phone number. I said, well, we already had our first date.
For real? That's as long as they're
just didn't eat. We could have opened some things up in this house and ate. But that was that energy there, and you don't get that type of energy. I don't get that kind of energy.
No.
A lot. And so I was like, I'm going to have to go back out with
people
this
don't
man.
even want to speak that long to their spouse.
Exactly. I said, that was a really good connection because I have never connected like with anybody like that. Normally, I'll just be honest. I don't never talk to nobody in Walmart. I'll be like, hey, how you doing? And
you let your voice get
right,
deep like
it can do. They be like, okay, she is not interested. I be like, hey, how you doing? I just never. I kind of did him the same way at first. But then we asked him again. He said, I said to myself, if she don't respond this time, I'm going to leave. And he was like, I'm going to tell you how old I am. I was like, okay. I didn't know why. I thought, why is he telling me how old he is?
Right.
That was like his, I was like, okay. And I was thinking, maybe he doesn't know me. And it's kind of weird for me. We talked. I was supposed to go out with my sister. I missed everything.
Wow. So you guys going to reconnect again, too?
I'm going to go out with him. We'll see. No,
we're not going to speak that negativity. We're going to speak positivity. It's going to be a beautiful connection. watching y'all on the security cameras. Like,
Oh
what
no,
are they
so
doing?
the police guy came by twice. He came by the first time. He's like, "Hey, how y'all doing?" It's like, "Okay." Then he went and he came back like an hour later. And then when we were leaving, when I was leaving, he came and he said, "Nice talk." I was like, "Oh yeah, okay."
Right. Okay.
It was crazy. So that's my energy story.
But that's how it is in the store for me too. I interact and meet so many cool people there, and sometimes I'll meet people there, old, young, different ethnicities. Some people we instantly have a connection. I might talk to them for a whole hour or 45 minutes straight, or just it's really. I think it's sort of amazing. I like it, especially when I meet somebody who I know probably would normally not talk to me, but they're talking to me because I'm in the store. Because you might like. No offense to like the Indian community, but they don't often. I don't feel like they don't often just normally open up and approach and talk to me. But they will in that setting, and I've met like some really cool people, some artists and stuff like that. They'll open up and talk to me about like their beliefs. It's so cool. I really, really like it. I love it. I did not bring cards with me today. I might have some in the.
It'll
I
be
might have some
so
in the car.
cool if you'd have brought them so you could read them.
Oh, I might after the show. I might have some in the car somewhere. I'm sure. I got my set in the car. She might not want to be read.
You could have read me.
Oh, okay.
Let me read you. Okay, I don't.
You got your imaginary card?
Imaginary card. You know what? I actually have a deck of cards, but I cannot grasp all of these different symbols.
It's 78 cards for tarot, and then you have to learn all the different meanings. It can take a while, right? It can take a while. I say start with the major arcana. Just start with those. What is it, 24 major arcana, something like that? But
it's deep.
It gets deep, and those cards have a lot of symbols on them. But I use this tarot. I tell people when I give them readings, I mean, I'm an intuitive. Sometimes I get clips and visions, so I don't necessarily always need the cards. Okay. If I give you a reading, I typically do crystal reading / tarot reading. So I'll have you pick out crystals that you might be attracted to. We'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about the cards. But sometimes, and I'll tell people in the readings, like, I don't need the cards for this. I may instantly pick up something or see something, and we can go from there. The cards sometimes help me focus and hone in a little bit more. But sometimes, like I was giving somebody a reading on live a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, what's going on with this thing? He was asking me something about a friend. I said, what's going on with this thing about this gun I see? I see a gun in the car or something. It has nothing to do with the cards. It's not a card in there. They're going to tell you about a gun. Oh, wow. But I saw that flash, and he knew what I was talking about. I was like, you need to stop doing whatever you're doing. Wow. Period. And so it just depends. But the cards definitely help me, like, fine-tune it, I'll say.
Now, can they come to your store and get a reading?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do virtual readings. So sometimes if you don't want to come in, you can set up something, and I'll contact you through like Instagram or Facebook, and we'll do a virtual call. And then, of course, you can definitely come in store. I'm there. We're open Tuesday through Sunday, so I'm only closed on Mondays. And so appointments during the week, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you can just walk in pretty much.
Is there a telephone number? Or?
Yeah, the telephone number to the store is 734-744-5099. But you can Google Tranquility 313. The number will come up as well. But I'm in Laurel Park Mall, so you can always just walk in. Also.
Now, is the cost of a virtual reading the same as an in-person, or is there a difference?
Nope, it's the same. Okay. So $35 for 15 minutes, $55 for 30 minutes.
Now, for a first-time person, what would you recommend?
This is how I usually start it. Excuse me. I usually say start with 15. I have a little chime that goes off when it's 15 minutes, and I'll usually say, okay, they'll hear the chime. I'll be like, do you want to continue, or do you feel good where we are? And so it just depends on the situation. Sometimes, like I said, I talk about a lot of heavy things might come up, so of course you'll be like, girl, keep talking, we got to go deeper. And then sometimes people might be like, okay, I just wanted to try it. That was good, and they're done. So I just sort of give people, like, the option. I want you to feel obligated or overpaid. You may not even need it that.
Okay. Do you have, like, people who come back, like repeaters who come back because they've gotten information from you that has been relevant to their life?
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, I've only been open at the store for a year, but yeah, I definitely have my repeat clients. But I'm big on people living their life. And I tell them that, like, yes, I'm very grateful and happy and blessed that you enjoy my reading and that what I said to you came to fruition or it gave you confirmation. But I also want you to live your life. Like, I have some people, they be like, oh my God, I mean, I love you so much. You need to be my friend. I want to come here every week. Don't come see me every week because, one, I'm not here just to take your money, right? I have a job to do. I deserve to get paid for that job. But I'm not here to just take. I'm telling you to live your life. When I give you some information about something, you still have to go through your life path. So I even say, like, I have a reader that I've been going to for years. I maybe see Sabab once a year. If you're just feeling like you're just in a deep, deep place maybe every 6 months. And I'll say at a minimum every 3 months, but every week, every month, no,
Okay.
no, that's not healthy to me.
Okay.
And that's just my thought. No shade to any other readers out there, but I will cut you off if I feel like it's excessive.
Okay. Now I got a question because in like my background, I do social work.
Oh.
So we are supposed to see therapists and stuff on a regular basis to decompose and take things off. So
Yeah.
I heard you say you have your own reader that you go to.
Yeah.
So is that the same kind of process where you go to him because you can't really you can read yourself, but another person.
I recommend not to read yourself because you drive yourself crazy.
Okay.
So I try not to read
That's what I was
myself
trying to get at.
unless it's something very minimal that I'm like, but I try not to do that because you'll drive yourself into a crazy rabbit hole.
Okay.
I think that like I always be like, even the therapist needs a therapist, even the doctor needs a doctor.
Exactly.
Go to someone else because you need a fresh set of eyes on the situation. Because emotionally, when you want something to be what you want it to be, you can make any car feel like it's the right thing if that's what you want to be. Because you're gonna make that car work for what you want it to be. No, that's not how it works.
Right. So that's better self-care by going to somebody else.
Yeah, and then I too, just like you said, you have a therapist and things like that. They recommend for you to do to decompress and things like that. I recommend that sometime with my readers. Sometime when I'm reading someone, my clients, I can sometimes feel and pick up that they need something more, and I maybe say, hey, have you thought about seeing someone who's professional or licensed about this, or someone that you could talk to about deeper? Because like I say, some things come up that are heavy, molestation, abusive husband, things like that. You can talk to me about it, and people enjoy talking to me. Excuse me, but I'm not a therapist, not licensed, and I don't want you to ever forget that. Like, you can still speak to a professional too. It's very important to do that.
Awesome.
And I feel like God works through all different type of people. So yeah.
What do you think? Look, he got like 5 questions over there. You can tell. Do you see a therapist? Because if you're not, I can counsel. I am a counselor. If you need counseling,
I fired you years ago.
Why did you get
He used to come
fired?
in my office and just be like, blah, 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 blah.
You got fired. He let you go.
He
Yeah, I
got
let
rid
her
of me.
go.
He's like,
Yeah,
I gotta go.
I had to let her go.
I kept laughing.
Yeah.
I'm the worst
Yeah,
therapist. I'm always
I had to
laughing.
let her go. It's like,
I'm very
seriously?
blunt.
I am very now. Me too, as a reader, and that's what people either love and hate about me. Even as not a reader, if you know me and if you've been knowing me any part of my life, I've been known as like, I'm your blunt friend. I'm your friend where you're like, okay, Amina, tell me the truth. I know you're gonna tell me the truth. You're gonna kick my butt. This is what's going on. I'm gonna tell you what it is. I'm like that in my readings too. But sometimes I can intuitively pick up if I'm talking to someone who's more sensitive. So I'll try to lighten the load, or I'll prepare them like, hey, this is my word I always say, I'm a direct communicator. So I'm about to tell you something that's going to be challenging. And then I'll sort of like just tell them. Because I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like honesty is the best policy, even if it might hurt just a little bit. It's better than putting a whole bunch of sugar on poop. I don't want to do it.
See?
I don't want to do it. I want to tell you because I want you to spiritually grow. So growing sometimes it's not always nice. It's not easy. It hurts a little bit.
No, she already answered it. She answered it earlier. So basically, it was just been repeat. I was just going to ask her because she said she had always. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know.
Okay, go
So,
ahead. Shoot.
Marissa, so when did you notice the strong spiritual connection with the spiritual?
I want to say my mom has always sort of brought it to my attention. Like, as a little girl, she always be like, Mina, I think you got, because that's what she called me, Mina. Mina, I think you got like a psychic ability. Mina, you have an ability, because she always told this story about when I was little. We had this dog, and she was like, where is Blazer? You know how you come home, you checking on your pets, and I was like, he's dead. And she was like, what? He not dead. She like went in the yard, and he was unfortunately passed over in a tree somewhere. So I think ever since then, I just feel like she always sort of told me that. But I always have been like that friend, not even knowing, because sometimes I feel like a lot of us have, first of all, everybody is born with an intuitive gift. Some people choose to use them more than others and is more open to it. I've always been a friend without even necessarily knowing the right words, like, I don't like how that person makes me feel, or I don't know, but I don't trust that. And they be like, what you mean that person? I'll be like, it's just something about them. It's like, really for me, big was like energy feels. Like, I've always been a person who can pick up people's energy, or a person I'd be like, I'm about to go and get out of here because I don't feel right in this space and then something might happen, So I've always been like that. And then I think once I began to accept that, I mean, you might have a little bit more of a gift than maybe some people, then you'll really see it sort of like open up a little bit more. But I had dreams and stuff of people that have passed and things like that that come up. Just little small things, nothing like over the top. But, once you begin to accept it, it becomes, to me, it just heightens even more because I feel like God and your spirit team is like, oh, you ready now?
Right,
Oh,
it
you ready? So
blossoms.
let's go ahead and get you some more. You ready? You ready? So, and sometimes I'll be like, hold on, back up. I'm not that ready. Hold on.
Ready.
Yeah, because I like felt something this time. Like, no, like if you ask me, I'm a tarot reader, I'm a crystal reader. I'm not a medium. Like a medium, they talk to people from the dead. They can see spirits and stuff like that. And I feel like they be wanting to like peep around with me sometimes. I'll be like, hold on, y'all. If you want to come to me in my dream, or you can give me another type, but you don't got it this full blown. Cause I was in the store, I be feeling like weird. So I'm like, no, don't do me like that. I don't need that. Ain't me. That's not me.
How do you read crystals? Because I've never.
Okay, so and people really love my crystal reading because it's a very unique thing. Like most people don't offer crystal readings. So this is what I do. Because of course I sell crystals too in the store. So crystals, if you don't know anything about crystals, basic thing is crystals all have their own energy and their own healing powers and benefits, right? So we can use them for different things that we need spiritually, physically, mentally, whatever. So I believe that, and I believe that we are attracted to the crystals spiritually that we need at that time. So if you were to come in my store right now, because I have a lot of novices come in, and they be like, I don't know about crystals, but I want crystals. I was like, don't read any of the meanings that you see. Pick up the crystals that you naturally are attracted to, and then we'll go back and talk about what they mean or how much they cost or whatever. Okay. So that's sort of what I do in my readings too. So if you were to come in my space with me, I have a jar there, a big container full of different crystals, and I'll tell you, okay, pick 3 or 5 crystals that you are naturally attracted to, put them out on the table, and we're going to talk about them. So I'll tell you what they mean, what they generally mean, and then I'll talk about how they spiritually relate to you, because we're attracted to the crystals that we need at this time. So the crystals that you like right now, it's sort of like a jar like this. You were to pick these out, you might be like, oh, these are gorgeous. And a year from now, you may come up and be like, I don't want them crystals. I want these, because spiritually, you might be somewhere else. Okay. And so you pick from that, and we sort of talk about why you may have picked those crystals. And then also, like I said, intuitively, sometimes I pick up things too before people sometimes even pick up crystals. I just read a minister a couple of weeks ago, and she told me, she was like, she came in for a reading, which I was so surprised. She was a black minister. Mm-hmm. And I read her about some things about her church and stuff. And then she was like, you know you don't need them crystals. You already know some of this stuff anyway. And I was like, yeah, I do, but I like my crystals. I like my crystals. But sometimes people come in, I can sort of feel some of the stuff they need anyway. But the crystals, that's sort of how the crystal reading works.
Oh, that's awesome.
So how has it been? Because I know that there's a flip side to people perception, what it is you do.
Right.
How do you deal with someone who looks at you as a wicked person, or I mean, because the way the media, well, not media, past media, and now movies and all that, and the stigma that's given to tarot card readers or something like that is like negative. When
Absolutely.
the reality is, we go back culturally and look at history.
It's been there from the beginning of time.
From the beginning of time. So how do you deal with someone who might be like, you heathen?
So let's just start from the. I want to say this first before I answer that part. So for the longest, like I'm openly talking to you guys about this openly for years. I kept that very private. My close friends knew that, I always meditated and did yoga and did tarot cards. They know I'm like your weird bohemian friend, right? That's me. But I was very private about tarot cards, even with some of my family members. They didn't know that I read tarot. Like my mom knew, but I would always be like, Mom, don't tell people about that, because if they're like religious or I knew they weren't into that, I wouldn't even waste my time discussing it, because I don't need you judging me, right? But when I decided to open up the store, and before that happened, I had a big like spiritual shift, and I knew that I had to let some people go out of my life that were very close. Once I was able to let those people sort of go and push them to the side more so, I was like completely sold on myself, and I was like, I'm taking this leap. And when I took that leap, I feel like God just showed me like, you're on the right path, and kept giving me more and more. So I'm very like confident about what I feel and think. But to answer your question, when people come in, because I have some people who are, like you said, may have a negative look on it, or they're not really sure what to think about it, because culturally we have been taught so many negative things about it. I always just say, well, how do you feel? Like, how do you feel about it? And if you try with me, my space, I can't speak for anybody else's space. I always say, my space is not scary at all. When you come into my store, one thing people say is, man, it feels so like light and breezy here. I have white on the walls. I have wood on the walls. To let you know, it's very natural. Nothing about it feels or looks evil. Not my reading space. When you come into my space, you see greens, you see golds, you see me, and I'm like, do I make you feel scary? No, you seem nice. So it's nothing about this that's scary, and that's not meant to scare you, and that's not how I operate my readings in my business. So usually when they come up, when I have people come in that way, because I have people coming in like, I don't know, because they say this is the devil, this is the witch, I'm like, how do you feel? Because if I was a devil or a witch, God give you intuition just like He give me intuition. Do you feel like it's evil or wrong? Because if you do, you should run. Exactly. You should get up out of here. But you seem like you feel that ease and that peace. Am I wrong or right? No, you feel, oh, okay. And so then they do the reading. I said, was the reading scary to you? How did it feel? No, it was nice. I'm glad I did it. Okay, I'm glad you did it too. But I'm not here to really like try to switch anybody or convert anybody. To me, by the time you come to my store and my space, you should have already, you may not be at your final spiritual destination, but you're at least at a space of being open. I'm not here to convert you. If you think I'm the devil and I'm going to hell and I'm a witch, we'll see, won't we? We'll see, won't we? I'm going to keep living my life. I'm going to keep living my truth. I'm going to keep talking and praying to my God and my angels that follow me. I believe in all of that. So I can't be worried about you. That's just how I feel about it.
Have you ever had a reading that was maybe so, I don't know what word to use,
Describe it.
Give us some adjectives. Look, give me something.
Have you ever had a reading that was so, have you ever read somebody to where it was so deeply immersed in maybe pain, misery, hurt, to where it was difficult for you to have to open up and share to them, to where you just like,
I had one person, maybe two, but one person really sticks out to me. I don't even know. I was more so scared for her because I didn't have an answer for her. A lot of times I'm a person when I feel these things and I see things going on as challenges, I'm usually able, I'm like a unlicensed, I feel like counselor naturally myself. So usually I'm able to give some good advice, right? Or tell you some way, maybe you can wiggle around this way. But I read a lady where I was like, I don't want to scare you, but your husband, if you leave him, he will kill you. He will try to kill you. Like, I really felt terrified for her, and I felt like he was in a position where if he wanted to do this, he could. She was like, oh, he can. She ended up confirming for me. She was like, oh, yeah, he got money. He can. I was like, and she was concerned because she had, one of her children was autistic, so she knew if she left him, she would be taking her adult son with her as well. And he was high functioning, I believe, because she was like, he agreed, like, Mom, we need to leave. But, he could sort of use that as a way to stay in contact with her through the courts almost. It concerned me because I didn't have an answer for her because I really felt like if she leave him, like, he coming for you. You better be prepared to run, and you better be prepared to really hide because he's gonna come. He's not gonna stop. That was sort of intense for me. And even after she left, I was just like, I felt deflated because I'm like, that is just a scary space to be in. And like, she was crying, my eyes was watering because I'm feeling what she's feeling, and she confirmed it for me, like, yeah, he's really freaking crazy. So that was tough. I did read somebody before too. I had a weird thing happen with someone, and this has never even happened again. This is when you talk about your spiritual gift constantly growing and changing. I was asleep because my mom helps me at the store because I still work somewhere else, right? So she, like, the cleaning lady that I never talked to but would see, she was like, the cleaning lady from the mall just came in here and she was crying and hysterical. She said her friend is missing. And long story short, the cleaning lady, who I never talked to but would just sort of see, she's actually a psychic herself. She's not like a person who goes out and do it, but she naturally gets visions and stuff. So she called me and was like, I had a dream. I got to find my friend's girlfriend. She's hidden in a hotel somewhere off the water. It's not in Detroit. Where is it? So my mom called me, and I'm like, Mom, I don't really necessarily do all of this. I'm not no psychic investigator. But I would pray to God, and I would meditate and see what happened because they called me in such hysterics. I couldn't just leave her. Long story short, I did end up getting some really, like, close visions about, like, the car this person got picked up in, the hotel room number. I was able to tell her that. And for whatever weird reason, the man that took her, I cannot explain. I don't even know the technical term for that, but I could feel his energy all over me. Like I was like shaking. I was like, I can't get him off me. I was like, he is on the run. He's trying to get away, and he's about to go to like Arkansas. He was just all of me, and I was just moving so fast and talking so fast. I felt like I was him.
Wow.
And so when I talked to her later, they ended up finding the young lady, and she confirmed a lot of the stuff. Now, fortunately, she didn't pass. I don't know what he did with the other girls. He let her go because she got too hot or something. Too many people were looking for her, so they got rid of her. But everything I described, like the hotel number, the car color, who the man was, one of the men who took her, ended up being two men. I didn't see the other guy in my vision, but I kept focusing on this one guy, and she was like, "You were right about like all of that."
Wow.
That
So
was
you
probably.
met the girl that he had.
I didn't meet her. She did because she knew her.
Oh,
so she
okay,
came back
okay.
and confirmed
Oh,
for
she
me.
came
Like,
back.
yeah, she came back and
Okay,
confirmed for
okay.
me. The cleaning lady came back and confirmed, like, all of that was right. Like, all of that was
Wow.
right. And I was like, that was probably the oddest thing that I've experienced. Like, somebody energy, like me feeling their energy on me. That was pretty strange.
And that was one of the questions because I'm an empath, but I'm like the opposite. Like most people, they say I'm the empath, and it's like if you got good energy, I pick up on negative energy, and it lays with me. So if I was to come in this room, and the way I was rushing this, I mean, if your energy was like really negative, if I couldn't shake it, it would just take a hold of me, and I would hold it until I could get rid of it, which can sometimes take me days to get rid of it. So I try to stay away from it because that hype and the negativity, it lays with me. And I was hearing you say that you took on his energy, it came on you, and that's a lot of people don't believe in it, but they do and don't understand it because you'll hear people say when you come in the room, if you're in a good mood, like if I come to work and you're in a good mood, I be in a good mood, and if you're in a bad, that's being an empath. It's just
That's being
different
an empath.
levels of it.
We're not oftentimes taught the terminology about those things. Me and my girlfriend were even just talking about, me and my friend were talking about how oftentimes when you see readers, right, you oftentimes see what? Women.
True.
And we talk about a lot of our men, especially in our community, a lot of African American men and things like that, are empaths and intuitives as well. They don't necessarily know the words because they're not speaking in those terms. But you are as well. Like I have my boyfriend. I told him like, you know, you're an empath. He's like, what's an empath? Well, you're a person. He'll just be like, I can just check the temperature in the room. I know the temperature in the room. And then just, okay, you standing in all this hood talk. What I'm trying to let you know is that you're a person that can pick up the energy in the space in the room, or you would know just when to leave and just when to time. That is a spiritual gift. There are technical terms for that. And, you know, sometimes I think we just brush it to the side and be like, oh, whatever. No, those are gifts.
And I know another word that they use when they don't want to use empath is discernment. Because like my son has the gift of discernment, but I always tell him, so you're an empath because I can watch his energy, physically watch it shift. Like he could be in like a really good mood and he'll go around somebody and he looks like he's aged. Like, who you been around? You know, and you know, I'm shake it off, and you know, he's real silly, so it's like I shake it off, and he'll get past it. But men, as you said, they can be empaths and not know it, and they'll say, well, I have to give them discernment. Same thing is discernment. We're it's not the same, but we're using it the same way.
Right.
Because you can read people. Everybody, I totally agree that we don't always accept our gifts, or we don't. It's like buying into
We close them off. You'll find that children are the most psychic, right? And even if you talk to others, I had a lady come into the store last week and she told me my mom was a reader before she passed. She was very psychic or whatever. And I said, well, what about you? She said, well, I was, but I got scared and I closed it off as a little girl. She said, it's coming back now. And she looked like she probably was maybe in her late 40s, early 50s by now. She was like, but I closed it off. People do that all the time because you might be scared or you don't understand it, or you may talk to an adult who may tell you that maybe it's evil or it's wrong. So you spiritually close yourself off to it. But you can't open it back up.
I said anything. I'm waiting for your gift to pop out, not that other head. It'd be like 3-headed creature.
Right. But yeah, well, I think we all have spiritual gifts, and if you want to hone in on them, you definitely can. But that's even.
You have one?
No,
He's just shaking his head.
no. I know I do.
I was about to say yes, he does. I can feel that he does.
I know I do.
What is your
Yeah,
gift?
I know he does.
I don't know. I have the ability to see things happen before they happen.
Okay.
But I've never lived it.
But you haven't let it go.
I think I have because no,
I
I
don't
haven't.
think you have.
No,
I don't think
no,
you have.
No, I haven't.
Why you just don't express it more? I feel like you're a person that close off and don't tell everybody. Like I feel like you're a person that I feel like you just mark it in your head like like a little check, but you're not telling other people about it.
No, I don't.
But sometimes you could be helping them though. You don't want to help other people. I guess it's not your business. You don't have to.
Gosh, no, I know. I mean, I like her. I'm a social worker. That's what I do.
You do it every day, so you using your gift every day. Social workers.
You know, sometimes it's draining
Absolutely.
because the counter transference of energy from
Oh,
another
absolutely.
person to you, and it's like, how do I get this off?
So that's what I asked, right? So the the guy with the energy who I was feeling. First of all, I had to stump his energy. That was the weirdest day ever. Literally, physically, my mom was laughing. She's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I gotta get his energy off me." I just kept stumping because I had read somewhere before like that's a good way to get spirits off of you. You stump them, and then sometimes people will even like one of my readers. She only wear her hair. She won't read you without her hair being wrapped because people believe that negative spirits and energy lodge onto your hair because your hair is what attached to the nerves that go right into your brain. Right? It sort of makes sense if you think about it. But that's one way. I literally stumped that man's energy off me, and I got some dragon blood. I saved that whole place. I said, I don't care about mall security today. Don't come in here if you don't want to. You just gotta go.
You know, that's a hard thing to remove that energy. The only thing that I do, and it takes a process. It's like I bathe all the time.
I was just about to tell you that.
Epsom salt bathing, and I put my it's like Epsom salt and baking soda, and then I put lavender in my bath, and then I put rosemary on my head.
Yes.
And then I'm drinking lots of green tea and jasmine tea, and I'm like, I'm trying to put this through because I got to get it off. But it's a process. It literally
That's
takes
that's what I wanted to say to you when you were saying you didn't know how to get it off. That is definitely one way. Spiritual baths. I sell spiritual baths. I'm a big believer. You can even make your own spiritual bath like you just did. That is very helpful. But when I first opened up the store, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The way that you can get, I'm asking because I know you're coming to it, but a way that you can get it off when you can't do that, because sometimes it's in the early part of the day and you're out, you're at work, whatever, you can't shake it, but you got it on you. Other than the stumping, what else?
This is what a reader, when I first opened up the store, Heather, shout out to Heather, who was one of my readers at the store at the time. Hi, Heather. She told me, because I told her, like you, sometimes when you read people, you feel your energy get drained. Same thing about feeling the energy on you. She said, that's because you're pulling from yourself instead of from source, instead of from God. That has helped me so much, because usually when I would read people, that's why I only used to read my close friends, because I was like, I don't want, and they used to, I was like, I don't want y'all energy on me all day. I don't want to be dealing with y'all. I'm drained. I physically feel drained from reading you guys, right? But she was like, you're pulling from the wrong place. Pull from God and the source. You're pulling from that energy. That energy is way bigger than your energy, right? Sure. Which makes sense. So before I go into that, that's what I pull, and I do it so easily now. It's natural to me. But initially, I had to really focus in on that and be like, okay, before I begin this reading or before I go into this space, I'm pulling from God, I'm pulling from my energy source. There you guys, I'm pulling from the energy from above and bringing it in here, and I'm releasing it back to that energy as well. That has personally helped me a ton. And then, of course, there are crystals and things like that that can help. I wear or have crystals near me that are good for, like, removing negative energy and for protection. So that's some of your darker crystals, like obsidian and onyx. Even labradorite is good for that. I'll use that, too. But there's a lot of different crystals that you can use. You know, I'm going to tell you to look for the one that you naturally gravitate towards. But those are the ones that I use for protection and removing negative energy. And also, like you said, another big thing, because you said you're putting lavender and jasmine and stuff in there, that's all scents for calming. So the crystals for calming would be like selenite and clear quartz. I like those as well, too, to help sort of calm me back down.
I'm saying, it got so bad with me that I have an unalome on me. I had a tattoo on me because I was like, I have to remove this. So I had a unalome. I have a thing I can't show you, but it's from here to here, and it is a protection. And so when you create it, you can use it with everybody else. But all my tattoos are always created. So I had it created, and I went in and it took me about a month and a half. It's so simple when you see, but it could not have taken you a month or 2 months to create this. But most unalooms end with a period. And to me, a period is finite, and that means that at the end of this, it's supposed to be your struggle. So you go through it, starts off crisp, it's curled and twisted, and then it comes into a line where you become focused, and when your energy and your balance, you become homeostasis. So when you become homeostasis, your path is clear to you, so you're doing more of a straight path. But when you're confused, your path is turned and it winds.
Okay.
So mine turns and winds and it goes into a straight line, but it never goes into a period, it goes into a comma because I pause
Okay.
before I start my journey again. So that's the value of mine, and it's got a protection symbol. Well, it's curved into it, so it comes down because my heart is here, and so it's always on my left side. So for my left side, my heart is here, so I put it to where my source of energy is, and that helped me a lot. So a lot of times when I think about it, and I might touch my side, 'cause I'm like, it's my protection is there. And I always tell people I'm covered. So they're like, oh, you covered? Well, however you want to say I'm covered. I'm covered with the blood of Christ. I'm covered with the Spirit.
Absolutely.
I'm covered, but
Whatever
I
you
am
need.
protected.
Right.
And that's what I use. But it doesn't, it helps me, but I still need more, like throughout the day, because if I go to a house, and I might go to 3 or 4 different clients' houses, you're like, you leave, and people are like, oh, you had an easy day. And I'm like, I'm exhausted. I'm literally, like you say, you're drained because you're absorbing, but you're giving. And people, I have a friend that like, well, let me come sit around you because I need your energy. And they drain my energy.
And they mean that too.
And yeah, and
They
I
mean
know
it.
every time I'm around this person, and I'm like, you don't even understand it. When I leave from you, I'm physically exhausted because you're just sitting there holding my hand, or we just sitting there and you're just like sucking the life out of me. That's the way I feel.
No, that really is what it is, and it's funny because when I was reading The Minister, I was telling you guys about it. Even when I read like nurses, I call people who are communities of the givers, right? If you are a giver, which is social work, teachers, nurses, doctors, you are people who give your energy all day, every day. You have to make time to replenish that energy for self-care. We oftentimes forget that. Even me as a reader, sometimes I may be just reading people and helping people, talking to people, and I forget to even follow my own advice I give people all the time, which is even if you only have 10 minutes, give yourself 10 minutes, preferably in the morning and at night, but if people are busy, at least in the morning, 10 minutes, get up early, and use that time to meditate, pray, journal, whatever you gravitate towards to center yourself, because you have to be grounded because God has given you a job to do. But you can't help anybody if you can't help yourself.
That's true.
You're going to come in half energy? That's not going to work.
Dang it, we should have brought the cards.
Well,
You ready for this? I'll give you a reading later.
No, well, the last time I had one, it was like, I just did it.
You did it yourself?
No.
You did it like on a whim.
This
like
was
on
like,
a whim.
yeah, this was like back in the 90s and things.
Oh, that's been a while.
Yeah,
How did it go?
It went good. She said you have a strong attachment to the spiritual realm, spiritual world. And actually, I've had some scary things.
What you been doing? Outer body experiences? Walking out your body? Mm-hmm. I myself,
People don't believe in that, but
I'm
it's
not
true.
a fan of it, but you definitely can do it.
One of them was like, but not that one. It was okay. I used to work. Oh gosh, I used to DJ in the topless bar. Okay.
I can see you being a DJ. You got DJ energy to me. I can totally see that.
And so I threw my coat over. You have to walk up the stairs and coat over, right? And the game, and I went and played the game, and my mind said, turn around, right? And I turned around, looked at my coat jacket, and my jacket had made a face, right?
Oh, wow.
Look. And so I went to the manager. I said, Anwar, look. And he went and looked, right? And he said, what the fuck? And he went over there, and he messed the jacket up, right? I went back to playing the game. And felt it again, turned around, and there it was again, right?
The
same face. I said, Anwar, look. He looked. He said, what the fuck? And he went over there. He snatched my coat, took it in the back, threw it down, and came out and said, you need to seek help of a priest.
What was the picture?
Yeah.
I'm curious. What was it?
It
what was the face?
I can't. It was more of a demonic face.
Like a spirit?
Yeah, because at the time I was immersed in
Streets.
yeah, we'll just say that. I was immersed in a lot of street life at the time and stuff. And it was other things that was coming along. Like it was like wow.
So what do you feel like that meaning was? It could have been a warning for you.
It wasn't the